The book of Revelation often makes people feel uneasy, not because it's meant to scare us, but because it vividly describes the ultimate fight between good and evil, signaling the final chapter of human history. Revelation chapters 6 to 16 show Satan's influence on the earth, a core part of this book that can be difficult to fully grasp and apply practically. Now comes the uncomfortable reality. Before things get better, they'll first become extremely difficult. Still, there is some comfort in knowing that these chapters depict the absolute worst that humanity will experience. Yet even this knowledge can be troubling enough. The 7 seals described in Revelation chapters 6 to 17 represent a series of final judgments from God. The events kick off in Revelation chapter 5 with a search across heaven and earth for someone worthy enough to open a special scroll by breaking its seals. The scroll's importance becomes clear as events unfold. It contains God's plan to bring the current era of human history to an end. According to the vision of John, this scroll in heaven is secured with 7 seals. Each time a seal is broken, another judgment comes upon the earth. Following these seal judgments will be even more severe punishments, the trumpet judgments and then the bowl judgments. The story of finding someone worthy enough to open this heavenly scroll sets the stage for these upcoming events. John describes what he saw. In the hand of the one seated on the throne, I noticed a scroll covered in writing on both sides and sealed securely with 7 seals. This scroll contains the judgments that God will carry out. Initially, no one could be found worthy to open it, deeply saddening John. If the scroll remained sealed, evil would never be judged and would continue to torment the earth indefinitely. But as John wept over this situation, good news arrived. He was reassured that the Lion from Judah's tribe, the descendant of David, had already achieved victory. Only he has the power to open the scroll and break its 7 seals. This figure represents Jesus Christ, portrayed both as the Lamb who was sacrificed and as the Lion who brings judgment. When Jesus takes the scroll to open its seals and bring judgment upon those who rejected God, heavenly beings begin praising him with a new, joyful song. In Revelation 5:9, they sing a fresh song about his redeeming power. You alone are worthy and qualified to take this scroll and open its seals, because you were put to death, and by your sacrifice you bought people for God, people from every tribe, language, nation, and race. You've turned them into a kingdom of royal priests serving our God, and they will rule upon the earth. The Gospel of John also mentions this authority clearly. John 5:22 explains, "The Father himself judges no one. Instead, he has given the complete authority and responsibility of judgment into the hands of his Son." Therefore, the Lamb, Jesus, begins opening the seals amid continuous praise. With each seal that opens, the scroll reveals more details about the judgments God planned for the period known as the Tribulation. When the first 4 seals are opened, the well-known 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse appear. They symbolize destruction as each rider emerges, bringing judgment upon the earth. As the Lamb opens the first seal, the Antichrist enters the scene. Revelation 6:1-2 describes it vividly. Then I watched as the Lamb broke open the first of the 7 seals, initiating the judgments. Immediately, I heard one of the 4 heavenly creatures speak with a powerful voice like thunder, saying, "Come." And as I watched, I saw a white horse appear, ridden by someone holding a bow. He received a crown symbolizing victory, and he went forth determined to conquer and dominate. There are important details here. The rider appears on a white horse, symbolizing peace. At the beginning of the tribulation, the Antichrist will show up, pretending to offer global peace. He receives a crown, signifying his immense authority and influence. Yet even though he rides as a conqueror promising peace, he carries a bow, symbolizing his hidden intention of domination. When the Lamb breaks open the second seal, massive wars break out worldwide. This is symbolized by a rider on a bright red horse, holding a large sword. Revelation 6:3-4 describes this vividly. Then the Lamb broke open the second seal, and I heard the second heavenly being say in a loud voice, "Come!" Suddenly another horse appeared, a fiery red one, representing bloodshed. Its rider was granted power to strip peace from the earth, causing people to violently attack and kill one another. He was given a large sword, symbolizing warfare and death. The second seal's red horse clearly symbolizes widespread conflict and chaos. After a brief period of deceptive peace, violence will quickly take over the world, causing people to turn against one another. Next comes famine as the third seal is opened. John sees a rider mounted on a black horse, holding scales used to measure food. He hears an announcement explaining that food will become extremely scarce, requiring people to work an entire day just to afford a tiny amount of grain. Revelation 6:5-6 captures this scene. When the Lamb broke open the third seal, I heard the third heavenly creature loudly say, "Come!" Then I saw a black horse appear, whose rider held scales in his hand. And from among the four creatures I heard a voice declare, "One day's wages will buy only a small portion of wheat or slightly more barley, but do not harm the oil and wine." As the fourth seal breaks open, John sees a pale horse appear. Its rider is named Death, and following closely behind him is Hades, the realm of the dead. When the fourth seal opens, a quarter of the world's people die because of war, hunger, diseases, and wild animals. Revelation 6:7-8 describes this grim scene. Then the Lamb opened the fourth seal, and I heard the fourth heavenly creature speak loudly, saying, "Come!" I looked and saw a pale, sickly-colored horse, symbolizing death and disease. Its rider's name was Death, and closely behind him followed Hades, representing the world of the dead. They were given authority over 1/4 of the earth, causing widespread death through wars, starvation, deadly diseases, and attacks by wild animals. The opening of the fifth seal reveals the souls of those who lost their lives during the tribulation because they faithfully trusted Jesus. Revelation 6:9-11 shows their plea clearly. When the Lamb opened the fifth seal, I saw beneath the altar the souls of those who had been killed because they faithfully proclaimed God's word and maintained their testimony for Christ. They cried out loudly, "Lord, you are holy and just. How long will it take before you judge the earth and avenge our deaths on those who rejected you?" Each one received a white robe, and they were comforted and told to be patient a bit longer until all their fellow believers who were destined to die for their faith, just as they had, completed their number. When the sixth seal is broken, a massive earthquake occurs, triggering catastrophic destruction and unusual signs in the sky. The sun turns completely dark, the moon appears red as blood, and the sky itself seems to roll back like a scroll. Mountains and islands are shaken so strongly that they shift from their usual positions. In Revelation 6:12-14, John describes the dramatic scene. When the Lamb opened the sixth seal, I saw a huge earthquake strike. The sun turned completely black, dark as rough cloth, and the moon turned deep red, like blood. The stars in the sky fell toward the earth, just as figs drop from a tree shaken by a powerful wind. Even the sky itself split apart and rolled up like a scroll, and mountains and islands shifted dramatically from their original places. The survivors of this terrifying event, no matter their wealth or status, tried to hide in caves and rocky places. Overwhelmed by fear, they cried out to the mountains and rocks, "Fall down on us and hide us from the one who sits upon the throne and from the anger of the Lamb. The great day of their judgment has arrived. Who can possibly survive?" At this point in Revelation, after the sixth seal is opened, there's a brief pause. When the seventh seal finally breaks open, Revelation 8:1 describes what happens. When the Lamb opened the seventh seal, there was complete silence in heaven for about half an hour. This quiet period represents awe and seriousness as the judgments of God become even more intense and severe. This seventh seal sets the stage for another wave of judgments. John immediately sees 7 angels prepared to blow 7 trumpets. Another angel appears holding a golden container for incense. He fills it with incense, symbolizing the prayers of believers rising toward God. Revelation 8:5 explains, "The angel then took the incense burner, filled it with fiery coals from the altar, and threw it down upon the earth. Immediately thunder crashed, loud rumbling was heard, lightning flashed, and another earthquake occurred." After the 7 seals are finished, a new series of judgments known as the 7 trumpet judgments begins, marking the next intense phase of the tribulation. In Revelation chapters 8 and 9, John vividly describes the angels sounding these 7 trumpets, signaling events that occur near the end of time. Each trumpet announces the beginning of a new disaster coming upon humanity. These 7 trumpets are detailed in the book of Revelation, specifically in chapters 8, 9, and chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. Each trumpet signifies a catastrophe. The events linked to the 7 trumpets will unfold during the period known as the tribulation, at the end of time. 7 angels who stand before God receive 7 trumpets. Each trumpet signals another wave of devastation. Revelation 8:7. When the first angel blows his trumpet, hail and fire mixed with blood rain down upon the earth. This fiery storm burns up 1/3 of the earth, destroys 1/3 of the trees, and wipes out all the green grass. This judgment closely resembles the 7th plague described in Egypt, Revelation 8:8-9. The second angel then blows his trumpet. Something resembling a massive burning mountain is thrown into the ocean. As a result, 1/3 of the sea turns into blood, killing 1/3 of all sea creatures and destroying 1/3 of all ships. This event echoes Egypt's first plague, as recorded in Exodus 7:20-21, Revelation 8:10-11. Next, the third angel blows his trumpet. A large star, blazing like a torch, falls from the sky, striking 1/3 of the rivers and freshwater springs. The celestial body called wormwood caused 1/3 of the water bodies to turn into wormwood, resulting in many deaths due to the toxicity of the water. The third trumpet judgment is similar to the second, but impacts freshwater sources like rivers and lakes instead of the sea. A brilliant star falls from the sky, contaminating 1/3 of the freshwater sources. In the book of Revelation, chapters 8-10, the star wormwood leads to numerous fatalities. In verse 11, wormwood, also known as Artemisia absinthium, is a bushy herb notorious for its sharp bitterness and toxic characteristics. The fourth trumpet, covered in Revelation 8:12-13, describes the fourth angel's act of dimming 1/3 of the celestial bodies, the sun, moon, and stars, reducing their light by 1/3. Observing this, John notices an eagle soaring high, proclaiming a grave warning with a mighty voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the earth's dwellers, due to the forthcoming trumpet sounds from the remaining 3 angels." This marks the 4th of the 7 trumpets, leading to significant darkening in the sky. After this trumpet, 1/3 of the daylight and nighttime experience darkness. Following this, John records a stern caution issued by an eagle flying overhead. The eagle's loud cry warns of the impending dangers from the next three angels' trumpets. Revelation 8-13 explains that the fifth, sixth, and seventh trumpets introduce the three woes. During the fifth trumpet, as described in Revelation 9:1-5, an angel sounded the trumpet, and a fallen star from heaven was given the key to open the abyss. This caused smoke to billow up like that from a huge furnace, obscuring the sun and air. From the smoke emerged locusts that were given power similar to Earth's scorpions. These locusts were instructed not to damage any vegetation, but were instead allowed to torment only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They could not kill, but were permitted to inflict pain for 5 months, a pain likened to a scorpion's sting. The ruler of these supernatural locusts, known as the Angel of the Abyss, is called Abaddon in Hebrew and Apollyon in Greek, both names meaning destroyer. These locusts are depicted in a formidable manner. They are likened to horses prepared for battle, wearing what seem like golden crowns and having faces that resemble human faces. Their hair appears as if it were women's hair, and they have teeth like those of a lion. Their wings produce a sound akin to many horses and chariots charging into battle, and they are clad in iron breastplates. Their tails, equipped with stings like those of scorpions, are used to inflict torment. These entities have the power to torture anyone lacking God's seal, causing agony so severe that the afflicted will long for death. Abaddon, also known as Apollyon, governs from the abyss and commands these demonic locusts. The sixth trumpet and the ensuing second woe mark the emergence of a new demonic army. As the trumpet sounds, a divine command emanates from the altar in heaven, instructing the release of 4 restrained angels by the expansive Euphrates River. The narrative in Revelation 9, from verses 13-15, captures this moment. When the sixth angel blew the trumpet, a voice resonated from the 4 corners of the golden altar in the presence of God. It directed the angel with the trumpet to liberate the 4 angels confined at the Euphrates River. Once freed, these angels, predestined for this specific time and date, set forth to eliminate 1/3 of the world's population. Commanding an immense ghostly cavalry, these sinister forces unleash devastation. The cavalrymen are adorned with breastplates in shades of fiery red, dark blue, and yellow. Their mounts, bearing heads of lions, spew flames, smoke, and brimstone from their mouths, while their serpent-like tails strike fatally. Despite the catastrophic toll of these calamities, the remaining people on earth persist in their defiance, unwilling to forsake their practices of idol worship, murder, sorcery, immorality, and theft. When the 7th trumpet sounds, signaling the 3rd woe, heaven's corridors echo with declarations that the earthly realm has now transformed into the domain of the Lord and his Messiah, who shall govern eternally. Revelation 11:15 also documents the 24 elders, proclaiming that the time has arrived to judge those who have laid waste to the planet. It is evident that the end times are upon us. With the sounding of the 7th trumpet, God's temple in heaven opens, revealing the ark of his covenant. The scene is marked by striking flashes of lightning, thunderous roars, an earthquake, and a massive hailstorm. Verse 19 signifies the conclusion of the judgments brought by the 7 trumpets. The stage is now set for the 7 angels bearing the 7 bowls filled with God's wrath. These angels, positioned within the now accessible temple, are prepared to unleash the ultimate divine punishments upon the world. In Revelation chapter 15, verse 3, the narrative introduces the 7 bowls of Revelation. Often described as bowls or vials filled with wrath, they symbolize God's intense anger towards the rampant wickedness on earth, particularly under the rule of a figure known as the Antichrist. Prior to the release of the 7 bowls, a sequence of events and earlier judgments unfold. The narrative of the first bowl starts in Revelation 16 with a commanding voice from the temple directing the 7 angels. Revelation chapter 16, verses 1 to 2, narrates that a voice from the temple commands the angels to pour out God's wrath upon the earth. Thus, the first angel proceeds, unleashing his bowl upon the earth. This action results in painful and malicious sores afflicting individuals marked by the beast and those who worshipped its image. As the first angel discharges the contents of his bowl, a horrifying transformation takes place. Those marked as followers of the beast, symbols of their defiance against the Creator, are now struck with repulsive and grievous sores across their bodies. Individuals who once displayed their mark with pride are now suffering as their marks have transformed into agonizing sores on their skin. Following the first bowl's affliction of painful sores on those marked by the beast, the stage was set for another dramatic event. The angel advanced, clutching a bowl brimming with an enigmatic substance. Revelation chapter 16, verse 3 captures this moment vividly. This second angel poured his bowl into the ocean, turning the water into a substance resembling the blood of a deceased person, causing all marine life to perish. The ocean's once vibrant blue waters started to morph into a dense dark red hue. The sea's transformation was stark and complete, resembling the thick dark blood of a corpse. This change was profound, affecting the very nature of the sea itself. Previously, Revelation chapter 8, verses 8 and 9 had described a partial pollution of the sea, but now the contamination was total. Every creature in the sea perished. The description suggests that the sea turned into something akin to the blood found in a dead body, not literally blood, but bearing the same grim appearance and repulsive qualities of such blood. The third bowl was poured, and the rivers and springs were not spared. They too were transformed into blood. Water, the essence of life, became an emblem of death, as described in Revelation chapter 16, verse 4. When the third angel poured out his bowl into the rivers and the springs of water, they also turned to blood. This complete transformation starkly contrasts with the earlier 1/3 contamination of fresh water detailed in Revelation 8. Amid these harsh judgments, John's vision emerges as a profound admonition, compelling us to listen to God's word, abandon our sins, and seek solace in God's grace. Then came the fourth bowl. An angel stepped forward, bearing the next vessel of divine retribution. This time, the bowl's impact was directed not at the earth or waters, but at the sun itself. Revelation chapter 16, verse 8 details this. The fourth angel poured his bowl on the sun, granting it the power to scorch humanity with fire. Immediately, a dramatic shift occurred. The sun, traditionally a source of light and warmth, assumed a destructive new role, unleashing fierce heat upon the earth. The intensity of this heat was unprecedented. People everywhere experienced the sensation of being trapped in an inferno, their skin burning intensely under the merciless solar flare. The pain was excruciating, penetrating every part of their bodies. Even as they suffered from this overwhelming heat, instead of seeking God's mercy, their hearts grew even more defiant and unyielding. As they faced the scorching heat, people defiantly raised their fists to the sky, expressing not a plea for mercy, but rage and scorn towards God. The fifth angel, acting on divine orders, directed his bowl not towards natural elements like seas or mountains, but aimed directly at the seat of corruption, the throne of the beast. The pouring of this bowl extinguished the sun, plunging the beast's realm into utter darkness. Imagine a world shrouded in such deep darkness that seeing anything was impossible. This was not a gentle or peaceful darkness. It was oppressive and discomforting, This intense darkness marked just the beginning of their agony. The darkness brought by the fifth bowl serves as a foretaste of hell itself. Those afflicted by this judgment found themselves metaphorically on the brink of the lake of fire. You might expect that in such dire circumstances, people would seek mercy or redemption. However, even amidst their suffering, they continued to defy God's call. Rather than seeking forgiveness or crying out for divine assistance, they responded with disdain. The sixth angel then took center stage, holding a bowl brimming with divine retribution, fully aware of the significance of his task. The universe seemed to pause, anticipating the next critical moment. This angel poured his bowl into the mighty river Euphrates, a pivotal event vividly documented by John, who witnessed it firsthand. The sixth angel emptied his bowl into the significant river Euphrates, causing its waters to dry up. This act cleared a path for the kings from the east, transforming what was once an obstructed route into an accessible way. The Euphrates, part of the Fertile Crescent and a key geographical feature in biblical texts, is crucial to the Middle East as it flows through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. In a dramatic scene set in the heavens, the seventh angel prepared to release the final installment of divine wrath. This bowl was not merely another judgment, it represented the culmination of all preceding judgments, signifying the gravity and conclusiveness of God's decisions. According to Revelation 16, verse 17, as the seventh angel poured out his bowl into the atmosphere, a commanding voice from the temple throne declared, "It is done." This declaration was not merely an announcement, but a confirmation of the fulfillment of God's ultimate judgment upon the earth. The aftermath was immediate and intense, as described in Revelation 16, verse 18. The heavens unleashed flashes of lightning, roars, and peals of thunder, accompanied by an unprecedented earthquake, the likes of which had never been experienced since humanity's inception, so powerful and profound. This was no ordinary natural event. It was the most formidable tempest ever witnessed, a physical manifestation of the intensity of God's final judgment. The spiritual realms reacted with turmoil, reflecting the severity of the upheaval. As the chaos subsided, it paved the way for yet more profound revelations. Babylon, the emblem of human arrogance, resistance, and decadence, was called to account before God. As a result, it received the full force of his fierce anger. Once a powerful and dominant city, it now shattered into three distinct pieces, its downfall marking not an isolated incident, but a pattern replicated globally. Cities across the world, symbols of human achievement, toppled and fell one after another. The splendor of human creations quickly turned to debris. This proclamation from the throne declared an end to the delays. In a display of patience, God had extended the timeline of retribution as long as possible. The sequence progressed from seals to trumpets and then to bowls. Yet, after these final judgments, there would be no further devastation unleashed upon the earth. It is done. The earth trembled under the impact of a monumental earthquake during these last moments of judgment. Amid this turmoil, one might wonder about humanity's response. Ideally, there might have been signs of repentance or recognition of the divine intervention. However, even as colossal hailstones plummeted from the skies, human defiance persisted. Rather than seeking mercy or understanding, people continued to denounce God. Enormous hailstones, each weighing about a talent, battered the people, and in their agony they cursed God for the harshness of the hailstorm, underscoring the severity of this last plague. The hearts of many were solidified by long-standing rebellion, leaving them blind to the scope of their misdeeds. Thus, the seventh bowl represented not just a display of divine might, but a stark portrayal of human vulnerability and the repercussions of continuous defiance. This narrative acts as a grave warning. Though God extends patience and mercy, there inevitably comes a moment when justice must be executed. The book of Revelation outlines the end times and God's ultimate scheme. As each bowl is emptied, the immediate and serious nature of God's judgment is underscored. These events are designed not to instill fear, but to highlight the grave outcomes of a society that turns away from its Creator. The unfolding wrath of God within the story is a powerful illustration of divine displeasure towards human sin and disobedience. With each successive bowl, the earth endures severe disasters, ranging from agonizing sores afflicting individuals, as mentioned in Revelation 16 verse 2, to the sun unleashing unbearable heat, as per Revelation 16 verse 8. It's vital to grasp the importance of these happenings. As described in the scriptures, these events are like pieces of a larger puzzle. They form part of God's overarching plan and serve as a reminder that God maintains ultimate sovereignty over all creation.